Good morning, y'all. I am Daniel Aaron, and I'm playing with the acoustics because some of you may recognize, and if you've been following me recently, you'll know I am on Martha's Vineyard, a beautiful sacred place that was my home 20-something years ago. And I'm here for y'all this morning with a tip about parenting. Peaceful parenting, positive parenting, and why parenting is in many ways the ultimate spiritual path. Now, I used to joke at our teacher trainings when I would say hello to the group and introduce myself, and everybody else would introduce themselves. I would invite Zeta, my daughter, who, her first teacher training was when she was less than a year old, and I would invite her up, and in the beginning she was shy, and I would always just kind of introduce her somewhat jokingly as my guru, and somewhat seriously. And I'll tell you why, from my perspective, kids are our gurus and why parenting is the ultimate spiritual path. And it's cliche to say, well, they're our ultimate teachers and they know how to trigger us and they will push our buttons. And the biggest reason, though, is we will do more for our children than we'll do for ourselves or anyone else. And because we love them so much, when we don't do well in our relationship with them, when our own stuff does get triggered, it's immediately visible in them, if we're looking. And I love the expression, if you hear the whispers, if you listen for the whispers, you don't need to hear the screams. And I've been criticized at times for being an overly strict father. And I'm not denying that, and there is something to it for sure. I can go that way. And I also notice that everywhere Zeta and I go in our life seems a little bit like David Carradine. She's like David Carradine and I'm her assistant, something like that. In Kung Fu, for those of y'all that don't know who David Carradine is. Age gap. Check it out, Kung Fu, David Carradine. Anyway, wherever we go, we know together our job is to bring light, to bring healing, to care for people, to enjoy our lives, to enjoy nature, and to care for people. And invariably, and it happens every day, it blows me away every day, people say to me, your daughter, she's so bright, so amazing, so kind, so caring. And and of course I love to hear that, and she loves to hear that, and sometimes she hears it, and I always repeat it to her and tell her how proud I am of her. And the flip side of that, y'all, in case it sounds like I'm bragging here, is I do have high standards for her, and one of the things my mother taught me is, as it goes in the Sting song, they say that manners maketh man, they say, which also includes the line, be yourself, no matter what they say. I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien, I'm a divine being here in this earthly realm, and it's challenging here in this earthly realm sometimes, and how we care for each other is perhaps the biggest, most important thing. One of my mantras is treat each moment, treat each being honorably. Anyway, Zeta and I had one of those experiences yesterday where she was with a friend and she was helping out take care of a smaller child, and then I took her to an aerial hammocks class, and it was just her and all adults. Yet she was so kind in helping all the adults because she's got a lot more experience and more facility in her body, and the teacher was raving about her afterwards. And anyway, I don't know what happened in the afternoon. Something happened for me where I was just like, I got in like a little bit of a funk, and I got a little worried or grumpy. I lost touch with reality. Have y'all ever had that? And we got home from doing things and borrowing our friend's truck and going to a new store and buying our dinner and getting our salad made and everything. And then we sit down to dinner, and I'm kind of like, oh, geez, I feel like I've been rushing around and stressed. You ever feel like that? And we did our little blessing. It was just her and I. We also often have friends with us. It was just her and I last night. We did our little blessing, so our circle was just our four hands, and said our gratitude and blessed the meal. And I looked at her and I just suddenly felt like, whew, I have such high standards for you, Zeta, is what I said. And I'll say it to you. I have high standards for you too. And the standards are, by the way, for you to make your life what you want it to be. And my job is to do whatever I can to help you with that, with information, whether it's this way or writing or coaching or an event. Anyway, I say to her, Zeta, I have such high standards for you, and I know that must be hard for you sometimes. And I see how brilliant you are and how caring you are, and I can imagine that my high standards for you and for manners and thank you and please, that sometimes when you forget, and I forget too, that must feel like you can't do anything. You can't ever do anything right. And she looked at me and she said, yeah. And right away, as I am now, I'm right back there. I can feel the tears coming in me like, I'm so sorry, honey. I'm so sorry to hurt you that way. And it's one of the sweetest things ever. She looks at me and kind of leans her head in like that and said, it's okay. And I love you. And then she kind of wipes the tear away from my eye. Anyway, we feel it as parents, We feel, if we're sensitive to it, if we're tuned in, we feel it when we hurt our kids, and it's a rough thing. However, that pain is the motivation to say, how can I lead her better? How can I teach her better? How can I love her better? And here's the tip, and the thing that I'm practicing every day is connect first, give the information or the boundary or the instruction or whatever it is after. And, how that can go wrong, for instance, is I'll be back home in a little bit and I'll come in and I'll find her doing whatever she's doing. And, maybe she'll be making a project in the kitchen and it will be stuff all over the place and, lemon zest flying and the blender a mess and the walls coated with this. And my tendency walking in at my friend's house will be to walk in and go, no, what are you doing? Stop, what are you doing? You don't do that. And I'm glad I'm talking it out now, because instead what I will do is I'll walk in and I'll look and I'll connect with her and I'll appreciate her and I'll tune into her world and I can go, wow, that must be really fun what you're doing. And then I say, and hey, let's take a look and make sure that we're taking good care of Sebastian's home. Is there anything we need to do or fix or adjust? Can I help you clean that up? And how long did that take me, y'all? Holy shit. Right? How long did that take me how long will that take me? How long does it take you to have that moment of connection first? And I don't know how it is for you. For me, it's not habit. It wasn't habit. Both are important, that connection and then also the boundaries or taking care of the space or others and manners and all of that. So the tip, connect first on an emotional level, tune into their world, appreciate what it's like for them, and then whatever needs to happen, let it happen. If it's this is what we're going to do, or you need to do that differently, or it's time to say thank you, or whatever it is, connect first and then give the boundary the information. And with that, y'all, thank you for tuning in to me, and thank you for being dedicated to a higher standard for humanity upon this beautiful planet Earth. I am Daniel Aaron, and I'll see you soon.